that all the advances in understanding are used only to continue the nonsense which has existed for 2,000 years. Now, that shows that gravitation extends to the great distances, but Newton said that everything attracted everything else. Do I attract you? Do I attract you? I was going to say, do I attract you physically? I didn't mean that. What I mean is it really true that two things attract each other? Can we make a direct test and not just wait for the planets and look at the planets to see if they attract each other? And this experiment, the direct test, was made by Cavendish on equipment which you see indicated on the next slide. If I got my slides right. Well, I made a mistake. I was talking about the importance of the gravitation. I was overwhelmed by my clever remark about astrologers and forgot to mention the important places where gravitation does have some real effect in the behavior of the universe. And one of the interesting ones is the formation of new stars. In this picture, which is a gaseous nebula inside our own galaxy, and there's not a lot of stars, but it's gas, there are places where the gas has been compressed or attracted to itself here. It starts perhaps by some kind of shock waves to get collected, but the remainder of the phenomenon is that gravitation pulls the cloud of gas closer and closer together. So big mobs of gas and dust collect and form balls, which as they fall still further, the heat generated by the falling lights them up and they become stars. And we have in the next slide some evidence of the creation of new stars. It is unfortunately harder to see than I thought it was when I looked at it before. But this is not exactly the same as this. This bump here is further out than here, and that this also has a new dot here. I have found better examples, but we're unable to produce a slide. There is one example of a star patch, a light that grew in a place within 200 days. So that when it was in the same kind of condition of a gas cloud, when the gas collects too much together by gravitation, stars are born. And this is the beginning of new stars. So the stars belch out dirt and gases when they explode sometimes, and the dirt and gases then collect back again and make new stars. Sounds like perpetual motion. I now turn to the subject I meant to introduce, which was the experiments on the small scale to see whether things really attract each other. And I hope now that the next slide does indicate, this is the second try, Cavendish's experiment. The idea was to hang by a very, very fine quartz fiber